Hi, Christy Summers with Gardening Volunteers of South Texas. Welcome to the front yard of Lynn Ann over here in Highland Park off of South Gevers and McKinley. I was driving by one day looking for an address, and I scout out yards for our Go Gardening videos, and I found this yard. So Lynn Ann, you moved here 4 years ago, and you sent us some before pictures, and now we want to show people the after pictures. So tell us, when you bought here, there was nothing here, right?
A little bit of grass, a lot of weeds,
And a lot of mud.
a chain link fence.
Okay. And then she has made this wonderful yard, drought tolerant, very artistic person. And so she's going to show us how she designed her beds and how she incorporated different colors of pottery into her yard and how she painted her beautiful fence here. So it is a showstopper when you drive down South Gevers. So let's walk over this way and show us what you started.
Well, I started over here at the front entrance.
Okay, so we're over here in the front, and this is the walkway into your little area in the front of the house. So tell me what this material is here and how you did this.
Well, the edging is a recycled tire material. We found it at, I think it was Lowe's.
Okay.
And it was on the shelf there. Now we can't find it on the shelf, but we have bought some extra pieces online.
Okay.
And wanted to start with that just because it looks a little more organic than the metal edging that we have everywhere else.
Yeah, I like it. I like the look of it.
And it helps hold the grass back a little better.
Yeah, and you didn't know anything about the Solace Water Saver Landscape coupon.
No, I didn't.
So you just picked plants on your own, and you're an artistic person, and you said you wanted your yard inviting.
Yes.
So I like how you did the pots, the bottom of the pots and the color and pops of color, but tell us, what is your favorite plant out here in your front yard?
Oh, my favorites? Probably all the crepe myrtles. I am in love with the crepe myrtles. I love the way they bloom all through the summer.
So in our landscape class, we asked people, think in your yard, how do you want to design your bed? So how did you decide to sculpt this the way you did? It's obviously not a straight line. Did you use the dirt?
Well, I didn't. Actually, I kind of looked at the way the curvature of the land was, and I like rounder shapes rather than the straight lines.
Okay.
Because for me, they're a little more organic and a little more inviting.
Well, they take the eye to a different place. Like,
Right.
like you have this nice area right here in the front that just kind of takes you right to your front porch.
Right.
Well, let's over there and let's head into the backyard because people are going to be amazed what you did in this backyard, knowing when you moved in it was all mud.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we're in the backyard here, as we're heading back, tell me about these beds you have, because I notice here you used a bed. It's a headboard and a
headboard
footboard.
and a footboard. A neighbor of mine, Vanjie, she was getting rid of them and sold them to me for a very bargain price. She gave them to me.
So it's upcycling, recycling,
Yeah.
but how clever. And then your beds here, they have drought tolerant flowers as
And
well.
this was all just mud.
Mud.
Just,
Wow.
There was no walkway. There was no boundaries. There was nothing. It was just
mud. Okay. And I like the patterns that you did with the tiles and the rock, and it just kind of keeps in with the front yard. And then you brought that here. And now you have some sunflowers.
The birds planted that.
Oh, interesting.
So I let it
Another
grow.
volunteer. We like volunteers. And then we have some more beds back here. So, and you definitely have lots of crepe myrtles, and this big one right here is beautiful. I see you also have some foxtails and So they're nice drought-tolerant plants. So I noticed in the heart of your backyard you put the seating area here. So tell us about this.
Well, my husband and I wanted different conversation areas.
Okay.
And we made this area. We've got the little bistro set over there, the original bed frame over there. And then we've got up in there where we eat dinners. We've got a hot tub up in here.
And your barbecue pit.
When we have friends over, they can go into separate areas and have private conversations.
Oh, that's
Or we
nice.
can all be in one big group and have a good time.
Yeah, and I noticed your AstroTurf.
Yeah. I did not want any mowing in the backyard.
I don't blame you. And then you just have pops of color all year round. And I love this other crepe myrtle over here. You have some nice sage and some ferns. And,
These are white spider lilies. They'll bloom July.
so you got a little bit of color all year round.
And then my other bed.
Yeah, you have another bed over here that's got some vegetables in it.
That's Swiss chard.
Nice.
Another friend gave me that bed frame.
What a clever idea. I think people are really going to be inspired by your backyard.
Oh, I hope so.
Because no maintenance.
Well,
it's really no maintenance. Well, little maintenance.
Spring and fall.
Yeah, but look how clever it is. It's so cool. Well, I want to go out and see your fence.
Okay.
So again, what caught my eye was your fence. And I'm an artist too, but I was so incredibly impressed. So you drew all this out on paper,
Right.
and then you painted this on after staining the fence.
Right. We took chalk and we graphed it out. I did the original design on graph paper, and then we took those lines on with chalk and just got it to scale.
Yeah, this is just beautiful. And then here's a mirror so somebody can stop by and, hey, check themselves out and keep on walking. And then you have drought-tolerant plants all along here as well.
Almost all of these came from the botanical gardens.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, they have their plant sale about every 3 months, yeah. And I love this one, this big purple one.
With the eyes on it.
Yeah, that's cool. Got a little lantana going on here. Butterflies, who doesn't love a butterfly? And your sunflowers. But it just keeps on going, and this is just so nice to be able to drive by. It's got to put a happy face on everybody's face.
Well, and that's what I say every time somebody asks me what my inspiration was.
Yeah.
Is I just want to make people smile when they go by.
Yeah, and how you wrapped it around the corner. You've got your ladybugs and your beads.
Well, and a badger, and our last name is Badger.
Yeah.
And my husband's daughter is a artist also, and she actually did that badger.
Oh, that's precious. And you've got some plumbago over here. I love the blue flowers off of there. And your banana trees were here, correct, when you
Yes.
bought the house?
Yes, the bananas came with the house.
Fantastic. I am just so impressed, and I'm so glad that you shared this with us today. Well, Lynn Ann, thank you for inviting us into your yard, your courtyard, your backyard. I love the water ambiance behind us. So please go to gardeningvolunteers.org. Go to the website at the top and click on videos. And this video will be on July 1st, the first Friday of every month in our Go Gardening video series.
How exciting.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Good morning, Christy Summers with Gardening Volunteers of South Texas. I'm here at Milberger's at Bulverde Road in 1604 in north side of San Antonio. And I'm here with Mary. Good morning.
Good morning.
So our goal today is once you've gotten your yard ready for plants to go in, and you've had your books, your superstars, your garden style San Antonio plants, and you've picked and chosen which plants you want to put in your yard, you come over here to Milberger's and see Mary or one of the employees, and you use this coupon book, and she's going to show you in a mini tour of where to find these plants and how to follow the landscape water saver coupon. So Mary, take us on a tour.
All right, first we're going to stop at the perennial bed. It's the most reasonable price plants we have, $8.99 on average, and unless we're having a sale, that's pretty good when we have a sale on them. So you'll find most of your plants in that section that we have available, and then we'll tour around to where we keep the agaves and the yuccas.
Okay.
And other shrubs that might be available for the package.
Okay, so it's a $100 coupon per 200 square feet removed. So they have to buy at least 1 gallon plants and a 1 5-gallon plant, correct?
Well,
Which is
they've
a tree.
actually made it where you can do any of those.
Oh, okay.
So you're not, in the first packages you remember, they made you get at least one big thing, but it didn't work in everybody's yard. So,
okay.
For obvious reasons, because they already had big things in there, or they just needed lower growth shade plants or something like that.
Okay.
So
well, you're the expert.
I'm so glad they did that because it frustrated so many people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to educate us today.
All right.
So take us to the first section.
We're going to wander over to the perennial bed in front of the 2-story building porched building there. Okay.
One thing I do notice on all the different plant things, it tells you whether they're deer tolerant, whether they attract hummingbirds, butterflies. I think that's great educational wise because I have deer in my yard and I don't want them eating all my plants that I'm spending good money on.
Well, so I have a list of the deer resistant, and because they wouldn't let me edit that list, I put ABC on it because A is the most resistant.
Okay.
And then that's if everybody else in the neighborhood is growing it. All right, so deer don't read.
Yeah, they'll eat if they're going to
They have no
hungry.
idea that they can't eat that. You know, if they can eat it, they'll eat it. And
here we have a lot of lantanas, a lot of different colors.
Nope, that's not on the package this year.
Right.
But it's skullcap is, and that one is so popular with the native insects and butterflies. You can see
I've seen the bumblebees over
the
here.
bumblebees are all over it. They're all into that one. The Pennsylvanicus, the main bumblebee. Damianita, Blackfoot daisy, both super drought tolerant. The one that's more resistant is Damianita, but there are reports back to me that the deer eat that too.
Okay.
The salvias are your best bet with deer.
Autumn sage I love.
All the salvias are on the package, any variety here.
Okay, we have plenty of colors.
Yes, some are better than others for the dry rock.
Okay.
So they got to get a little educated on that.
And they'll have a water saver landscape coupon thing on it to let people know that
we
these
flagged
are...
that these are the ones to choose from.
Okay.
You've got Evendale. I have 2 in this bed. One of them is Jerusalem sage, not a true sage, but definitely drought resistant, evergreen mostly.
Okay.
And deer can't eat it. So that's a good one to remember if you have deer. Also firebush here and shrimp plants.
Very pretty. Look at all the colors.
Right. And we also have the snake herb, which is a great ground cover. That ground cover can go into shade. I have that in my yard. Once it got established, that 1 gallon took me 2 years to get it to 2 foot wide, and then after that it was gone. It ran all over the place. So I have it covering the yard where I want it in shade.
Let's go back to where we have the 5 gallon that we need to look at.
Okay. On the way there, we're going to look at the yuccas because that's in that
Same
trajectory.
Thing
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay, so now we're back here in the 5 gallons with Texas Cenizo or Texas Sage. Tell us about the different varieties.
Okay, we have so many different varieties. The shortest one I have is Cimarron, and that one is only getting to 3 feet on average, 3 by 3 about, and then it can be as big as 7 feet. So you got to make sure you get one that's not going to grow too big for you. Average is about 5 feet.
Okay. And all these get really pretty purple, pinkish color flowers on them.
Some of them are more purple and more pink than others.
Are they evergreen all year round?
They are mostly evergreen.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, but they are shrubs, so you will need to trim them.
And they need the full sun. They want to be desert full sun.
Okay.
So dry and hot is in lots of sun.
And then trim them in February.
I give them a good cut back, not hedging them back, but actually cutting back to give it the texture you want.
Okay.
So that it doesn't grow beyond that and become all ugly,
Leggy.
hoary, woody.
Yeah, leggy. They get leggy.
Well, they hoary too. You know, the wood gets thicker and thicker, and you don't want that to do year after year, and then it gets bigger than it's supposed to be, and it looks ugly.
Okay.
So
well, we don't want that either.
You don't need it to look stupid. So
Yeah.
you cut back every February, you'll have this kind of look,
Okay.
the natural growth look.
And I noticed on here we have some agaves too, correct?
The agaves are another section altogether. Here we have Nolina, yucca, and Texas sage in the back part near the metal workshop building
Okay.
behind the greenhouse.
Okay, so now we're back here by the 5-gallon buckets with all the crepe myrtles, and I know there's lots of varieties to choose from and colors. So tell us what's most important about crepe myrtles.
Well, the most important thing is to know how tall they grow, so you don't get the wrong size for your yard. And I have a sign on them, all of these, for the heights, so
Okay.
that you know the general height that it'll grow to.
Okay.
And if you need a bigger one, we do have them. But on the package, you just start with 5-gallon.
Okay.
And I have so many varieties in here, but if it says it's tropical, and
Okay.
you don't want it in the hills.
Okay.
And it's probably going to get hurt on a regular freeze.
And the deer will eat these if they're smaller in your front yard.
So they
correct?
eat the leaves.
They'll eat the leaves.
They'll eat what they can get.
Okay.
Yeah, and even it's worse now, but they did it all the time before. And people were always surprised. I thought they weren't. Yeah, but the others are bigger. You know, they're all out of reach.
Okay.
So you got to protect the bark too from their rubbing on it.
Oh, okay. I've noticed some things
They'll
coming
scar
off
them
of
up and take. You know, unfortunately, it takes a while to get them a
Grow
big
back.
enough trunk for them not to want to rub on it.
Okay.
So it'll take a while.
Well, these are beautiful.
Yeah, we got a large selection of beauties and whatever color you want, just
Yeah,
about.
just about.
But the tallest ones, I don't have so many of them in the
Okay.
5 gallons right now. This availability is low.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
So now we're over in the tree section, and one of my favorites is the mountain laurel, and that's also on the Water Saver Landscape thing.
Yes, and
All
it's a 5-gallon one. It's the one approved.
Okay.
You can't get the 1-gallon one for the package. It has to be 5.
Okay, and also on your list, you just got some Mexican buckeyes in.
Yes,
so.
and that was a long wait for those. Hopefully we'll get more in as time goes by.
Okay, now I know these are a little bit slower growers, and they do bloom in the spring with purple flowers. So I love these, and they're evergreen all year round as well.
And they're beautiful. And they're probably going to grow faster than they would in the wild in your yard, but you never want to overwater these.
Okay.
They don't need fertilizer. They're native to the rock and limestone. So
Okay. Well, we could walk around your place forever out here.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you gave us a mini tour. So anybody coming out, please come see Mary or any of her staff. They'll be happy to show you around. And if you go to Gardening Volunteers of South Texas, our website, and join as a volunteer, you'll get a 10% discount card. So when you come to Milberger's, you'll get 10% off your purchase. So thank
right.
you, Mary, for your time.
You're welcome.
And hopefully you'll get a whole bunch of new people coming to Milberger's.
Oh yeah, I see everybody.
Okay,
we
thank
get
you.
everybody here. Thank you for the time out.
Absolutely. Thanks for educating us.
Yeah, you bet.
Hi, welcome back. Christy Summers with Gardening Volunteers of South Texas. I'm down here at Confluence Park with Lee Marlowe with Sarah. Sarah stands for San Antonio River Authority. Confluence Park is attached to the Mission Reach project, so I'm going to let Lee tell you all about it. Lee?
Well, I'm happy to be here today at Confluence Park. This is an amazing park just south of downtown San Antonio on the San Antonio River, and it is along the Mission Reach project, and that project took what was the previously channelized San Antonio River that was mowed grass and had very little habitat value and converted it into an amazing, rich, diverse, native, dominated plant community with lots of trees that we didn't have here before, lots of opportunities for wildlife. We also created a lot of different habitat within the river itself that didn't exist, that is supporting unique fish species and other wildlife. It's an amazing place. The park is a great place to come to see a lot of different native plant species in different garden settings, and hopefully inspire you to learn more about native plants and maybe bring some of those native plants into your own space.
So let's head to one of those favorite spots with these native plants.
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so we're in this part of the walk down to the river, and this is full sun. So tell me what plants are in here and how these are all used together.
Well, this is a great combination of plants for full sun. This orangey yellow flower you see in this large bed in front of us is Zexmenia. It's extremely drought tolerant, beautiful deep green color, and as you can see, there are a lot of native solitary bees buzzing around, all different kinds all over this Zexmenia. And then we also have the purplish blue over here is one of my favorites, mealy blue sage.
Yes.
And that is a great plant for bumblebees and other solitary bees, as well as goldfinches. They will come and eat those seeds as they're developing on the plant. And it will bloom for extended periods during the year. We also have a native wild petunia here,
Okay,
the purple color
those.
here. And then behind me is Flamacanthus. And this is a really amazing plant for hummingbirds in particular.
Yeah,
and
it's got that
we might
trumpet
even
type
see
of
some come
flower.
over. Yes, they love it.
Yes.
And it's also a larval host for the crimson patch butterfly. And so you'll sometimes find these really interesting caterpillars. They look like little zebra-striped caterpillars, black and white, and they'll be clustered on the end. And if you come near them, they'll all start moving together like one big organism, I guess, to kind of scare you away. But
Cool.
don't be afraid of them. They are amazing, and the butterfly's amazing too. And we need the caterpillars feeding on the plant in order to
Become
get the
butterflies.
butterflies. Yes.
There we go. Well, this is beautiful. Let's head to another spot.
All right.
So here we are at another stop along the path, and I notice this is where the bike trail leads out, and you've got this tree covered in berries. So tell us about this shaded area.
This is one of my favorite little groupings here at the park, and the tree is called Anaqua. It's also known as sandpaper tree. If you were to touch those leaves, it would feel like very rough sandpaper.
Oh.
You are right, it's completely covered with berries right now. Tons of berries, and birds will eat those, other wildlife will eat those berries. It's a great native tree. You wouldn't really want it over a patio space because all of those berries that are left will fall off.
Okay.
But in this setting, it's amazing. And then around it, underneath here, we have agarita, which is a great native shrub. It's an evergreen. It's a beautiful evergreen addition to any landscape. It gets bright yellow flowers that are really fragrant in the spring. And then it develops bright red fruits that are edible, but you have to beat the birds and the other wildlife if you're going to try to get any of them. And it's great cover because it's got spiny leaves. It's really great cover and protection for birds, especially migratory birds that are moving through and maybe just need a place to rest. And then here again, we've got the orangey yellow flowers that we saw in the sunny spot, Zexmenia, and it does well in part shade.
And I see this along the park. It's cat skull, right? Cap skull?
Turk's cap.
Oh,
yes,
Turk's cap.
Yes,
Thank
Turk's
you for
cap.
correcting
and
me.
That's another amazing native shrub. Hummingbirds love that. It's like an unopened hibiscus flower. You'll also see some of the really large butterflies using those and getting nectar from them, as well as carpenter bees. But hummingbirds absolutely love that Turk's cap.
Okay, that's beautiful.
And then behind the Turk's cap, there's a chili pekin right up next to that tree, and it probably came from a bird that ate a pepper somewhere else.
Dropped the seed.
Yes, they call that bird pepper also. So the birds love it. It's one of our super hot native chilies.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, where into next?
Let's go over to the North American Friendship Garden.
All right.
Did you see that bird?
Yeah, that's cool. And look at the hummingbirds.
And then
Yeah,
also
you
the
have all the
grasses
grasses
here
over here.
with labels.
Yeah. Okay, so we're over here in the Friendship Garden, and you have migrant birds and monarch butterflies that come over, and so this area was specifically designed for that, correct?
Yes.
So tell us what the native plants are that are for those.
Well, we've got mealy blue sage here. We showed you earlier. This is great for the seeds. Goldfinches love the seeds of this plant, as well as we've got lantana, and birds will eat the berries of the lantana. We've got autumn sage, which the hummingbirds love. We've also got a variety of plants here that are supportive of monarch butterflies, including a couple of native milkweeds.
Okay.
Antelope horns and Zyzotes milkweed.
I see tons of butterflies buzzing around out here.
Yes, this is an amazing pollinator garden. Everybody loves this place. We've got insects of all kinds, in addition to the known benefits for the birds and the monarchs.
Awesome. This is wonderful. And there's a bench to sit down if you get tired along the walkway.
Yes, so the park has a lot of nice places to sit, relax, and there are a lot of events that are held here as well. So I'd encourage people to take a look at the calendar and come out and learn more about these native plants, and then get onto the river as well.
Sounds good to me. So I just love all this. I mean, all your little grasses here, and you have them marked.
Yes, it's an
And-
amazing place to see the diversity of native grasses that we have.
Yeah, and I love all the rock and the design. Okay, Lee, so if I was a raindrop coming down this beautiful sculpture down into your system here, how does this work?
Well, this entire park is designed so that all of the raindrops that fall are directed down into an underground system connected to a cistern that holds 130,000 gallons of that water.
Wow.
And that water then is used on site for landscape irrigation as well as for toilet flushing in our restroom.
Oh, awesome. Wow, that's awesome that they have this all structured that way.
Yes, this site is a model for sustainable approaches for not only stormwater but also the landscaping elements, and there's solar panels here. So it's a great site to come visit and learn different ways that we can all make the most of our natural resources.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank you again for helping us with this video and bringing Confluence Park to the city. This is the heartbeat. So we thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for coming out.